Hey everybody, Beth here. I want to expand on something that I say at the end of every episode of the Afghanistan Project Podcast, nearly, which is that we're always looking to tell Afghan stories on the podcast. And the way that Michael and I created this podcast, we realized it would be difficult to record with an Afghan listener or viewer every single episode, just because of the time difference, the difficulties with internet in Afghanistan, and then the importance of protecting people's identities and not just their faces, but their voices. So the way that we dealt with that was we asked Afghans to send in a letter addressed to us, talking about whatever they wanted to let listeners know about. And the reason that I thought that this would be a good plan is, as a longtime storyteller, the way to build empathy and understanding across the whole spectrum of humans is to talk about those things that we all share. You know, the struggles that we share with taking care of our children, dealing with jobs, dealing with housing difficulties. And all of these things are things that Afghans are experiencing right now or have experienced over the last few decades. It's such a really heart-tugging level, and I want listeners to understand how that feels, and the only way to do that is for Afghans to share their stories. So we want to hear stories from all the way back. If you want to go back to the Soviet period, if you want to talk about the first Taliban regime between 96 and 2001, if you want to talk about any period during the 20 years when the US was present in Afghanistan, or during those really chaotic weeks of the withdrawal, or if you want to talk about the 3.5 years following the withdrawal, when the Taliban took control of the country again, and Afghans have been spread out to the far ends of the earth. Whatever you want to talk about that has impacted you, we want to hear about. So please send in your letters with as much detail as possible about those parts of your story that any human can understand and empathize with. And send them to the Afghanistan Project Podcast at gmail.com, and we will be more than happy to read them at the end of every episode and make sure that listeners and viewers have a fuller understanding of the Afghan experience over the last few decades. Thanks.